Hi, my name is Marco Mezger. I have more than 30 years experience in the semiconductor IT and electronics industry. And today I will talk to you about the Taiwan Silicon Shield. I think semiconductors are the magic ingredients of our new modern world. You know, it's a chip who is making like 0 and 1s, and that's how the computers understand the language. It helps us to power mobile phones, it helps us to power computers, and of course also AI. So I think today this is one of the most important industry in the world to drive humanity forward. Before we had tensions because of oil. We had conflicts because of oil. And I think when we look today on the global supply chain of chips, we see there's also like a fight for supremacy or for self-sufficiency, right? This is probably one of the most critical industry at the moment where we have to look at and where we need to make sure that we have a supply chain resilience and make sure that we can get the products for our nation's production. It's a pleasure. I love it. It's basically the heart of the global economy because, as I mentioned before, you are driving so many industries. From my point of view, I think without the semiconductor industry, all the other industry would not be able to be there. Here in Taiwan, I normally feel there's a strong desire, also working in the hardware field, in the semiconductor industry. And that's why Taiwan is so successful, because you nurture over many years with agencies, with government, with private companies, a very vital ecosystem that people really want to work there. And I think that's also one of the ingredients of the success in Taiwan, the strong focus and nurtured ecosystem, which enables people to crave to work in that industry. All right, okay, I think there's a lot to unfold here. I think, first of all, if we are looking at tariffs, tariffs is a way of negotiating, okay? And they come and go. So for companies normally, when they need to make decisions where to produce, where to invest the capex, they do this very, very long term. So a short-term tariff will not move the needle left or right, but they bring people on a table to negotiate. Today, we have like a lot of production concentrated in certain areas, and these areas are under a lot of tension. So we need to look how to diversify and find other areas where we also build semiconductor hubs. But make no mistake, the majority of advanced process nodes will be here in Taiwan. Right, and then also to address, the topic in regards to that people might go abroad and buy their consumer electronics there. This is already happening. I mean, I by myself have done this previously. So I think tariffs are not pushing the needle in this regards because it has been done before. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Good question. So this one company, I think it's TSMC. So we can say this for sure. TSMC is the market leader for advanced technology. How have they been able to do this? I think it's the whole ecosystem in Taiwan. If you think about in the 70s, Taiwan has started via ITRI from the government, to nurture this industry. They saw this strategically, that this is an important industry. It has been built up over 50 years. So this success doesn't come overnight. Look at the geographics of Taiwan. 500 kilometers from north to south, 180 kilometers wide. I can go in a high-speed train and I'm in 1 hour, 45 minutes from the north, basically to the south. People be close together and having these national clusters. Yeah, so we have in Hsinchu, we have in Kaohsiung, we have in Taichung. So we have these semiconductor parks or technology parks where you bring around the fabs all the sub-suppliers. And especially for TSMC, it was a relentless focus on pure play foundry. This means they are not competing with their customers. They only manufacture the products for the IC design houses. For example, NVIDIA, big IC design house. We have AMD, we have Apple. There's a lot of high volume customers where nowadays are using TSMC. This is really very unique, which no other country in the world has seen strategically previously. And you cannot catch up in a heartbeat. As much as I love Taiwan, it's not only Taiwan has good chip making factories. We have in Korea, where we have a lot of memory with SK Hynix and Samsung. We have in the USA, we have Intel. But the best ones are here in Taiwan, especially at scale, to be able to produce, from a prototype, scaling up mass production very quickly. So if you are producing for decades for the global consumer electronics, PC industry, mobile phone industry, the latest chips and technology, you are learning every single time. So one of the big things in the industry is yield rate. Yeah? So when you manufacture the wafers, how good is your yield? How fast you can improve this? In Taiwan, because of the long-term experience and the sheer volume which is produced here, you gain a lot of experience, you gain a lot of data. And this concentrated and also exchanged and worked with organizations like ITRI in Taiwan helps to accelerate the industry and help Taiwan to stay ahead of the curve comparing to other regions. That's a very big question, right? So I can tell you it's not a zero-sum game. In the memory industry, they grow the market. Even the participants can also get more, and many of them can benefit. Semiconductor started in 1960. From 1960 to 2020, there was a revenue increase from 0 to $500 billion. So in 10 years, we gained 500 billion more revenue what we needed before 60 years. So then it only takes 10 years to double that. That's amazing. And SEMI just came out and they also mentioned they expect another doubling until 2040. So this means we need more fabs, no question about it. The big topic for me is like, how do we manage the geopolitical tension? And how do we manage supply chain resilience and dependency? I don't think that there is a big surpassing of Taiwan from any of the players we mentioned, especially in advanced technology. But we need to ask ourselves, how can we make supply chains more resilient in the future? Wow, that's a strong statement. You have different suppliers, yes. You have different players, correct. But what the other countries are lacking is the experience and the dedication which has been built up in Taiwan for more than 50 years. Taiwan started to look into the semiconductor industry, not when it was hot and AI. That's what everybody sees right now. So there has been sweat, blood, and tears for a very, very long time when it initially started, because the market was not so big, but the government had the vision. So if other countries and other regions are now planting a seed and they even put some booster in, that the tree is growing faster, the roots are not as deep yet. Well, they do. They started to do it. We see examples. I think, again, the biggest examples are probably TSMC. But let's look what TSMC has done. For me, TSMC, for many years, has always been very Taiwan-centric. So people were coming here, they were producing here. No need for them to go outside. So a couple of years ago, they started to go. So that's when the other regions basically said, hey, we need to have more supply chain resilience. We want to have a factory locally, mainly driven also by all the challenges which have been in supply chain during COVID. TSMC goes to Japan. In Japan, the mentality of the engineers and the way how they work is very similar to Taiwanese. So then TSMC makes a big move and go to the US. Initially driven by the CHIPS Act under the Biden administration. So they are going there and they are trying to bring advanced chip manufacturing, not the latest technology, but advanced enough that you can make advanced chips in the USA. Now let's move to Europe. In Europe, there's one fab plant in Dresden, in Saxony. This is not only owned by TSMC, so it's called basically ESMC, and you have 3 major companies from Europe also included to support and to finance it. And for the market, what they are addressing is mainly the automotive and industrial. Taiwan is going already abroad and exporting their factories so that they are more local to some customers. Well, what current levels? Even if you consider all the hundreds of billions of investment, what they are planning in the USA, in the final stage, they will be probably pretty close to 50% of their global output for advanced chips. This means the other 50% are still here in Taiwan. We see that the production level, what Taiwan has today, I think we probably the next couple of years, 70 to 80% of advanced process nodes will be here. And then you will have scaling up, for example, in the USA. Probably you will also have some in Japan. And then in Europe, I think Europe will mainly focus on the more mature process node, but also moving down, from the processes to make more advanced chips. So we don't know if this will go really that way, but we are still not there, that the US capacity will overrule Taiwan. Very good question. It's very obvious that you think desert, water shortage. Yeah, just to give you a number, some of these fabs, they use around about 5 to 10 million liters of purified water per day. Now you need to understand, for semiconductor fabs nowadays, it's like a circle. So you recycle the water. So probably we are at a level of 90% recycling of the water, which you bring into the manufacturing. One more thing to add there, they are not the only ones in Arizona. So you have already an ecosystem. There's also Intel with a fab. There are other fabs around TSMC. So the structure to build additional fabs was and is already in place. So this made it more easy for TSMC to go there instead to another greenfield and start from scratch. Very good questions. So it comes back again, talent acquisition. You need to find talents in other regions who basically will work in this industry. Then it also comes back that you have cultural differences, like how people have work ethics. If you go to Japan, you have the same cultural background, I would say, and you have a better understanding of the culture of the people. But also there, you have different compliances, regulations. If you go to the USA, you have all of this, plus you also, for example, have the involvement of unions, of labor rights. If you go to Europe, you have like a similar engineering mindset, but we have in Germany a lot of regulations if you want to build a factory, which normally is quite long. It takes a longer time to do so. So you have a good mix of people who probably come from Taiwan, train the people there, give them the understanding of how to make products. But I think also another factor is the density of the supply chain. So the point is to bring this back. Well, this would be a huge challenge, because you can imagine if the Western world would not have access anymore to advanced process nodes production, for example, via TSMC, it would slow down the whole global economy and also the innovation. For example, take an Apple and iPhone and you have 80 million, 90 million phones. That's a lot of chips you need to produce. This kind of advanced process nodes are mainly produced on ASML, EUV or high-NA EUV machines. This is the famous company in Netherlands who makes this equipment, and China has no access to these machines. So there's no capacity for EUV or high-NA EUV machinery in China. So they are stuck to a certain process node, what they can support. And here in Taiwan are around about 16 fabs who produce these chips, and they can scale it very, very quickly. And if this would not be possible anymore, this would have a huge effect on the global industry, and frankly speaking, also at you and me, because we would not get access anymore to the latest and greatest consumer electronics products. Well, I like the word of soft power, what Taiwan is using. They innovate, they can develop, they stay competitive. And I think with the move of going to the other countries, they make a big step. Because again, TSMC was before only here in Taiwan, and now they go abroad. They make new friends abroad. They transfer the way of Taiwan into the other regions instead of only being here. I think it's wonderful to see that this is happening. And with all the geopolitics, if we wouldn't have had the COVID and the supply chain issues, maybe we would not have seen in what type of a dependency we are going in. And I like the way how Taiwan is handling this, because it's nurturing relationships, bringing value to the regions where they are going to, and the regions are very grateful that the companies from Taiwan go there. So it's a win-win situation from my point of view. Wow, that's a question directly addressed to me. So I keep up with the industry because every morning I read round about 1 hour the latest news in the semiconductor. I structure them. I'm using different platforms here in Taiwan. We have DigiTimes, we have in Japan, Asia Nikkei, we have TrendForce. There's a lot of research companies and public available information. And then for myself, working in the memory industry, which is very volatile, I digest and look what are the key messages or what are the key information. So I'm very active on social media, on LinkedIn, where I share this information. So I have over 80,000 followers, 25 million views per year there, where people are new to the industry or people who are in different areas from the industry, where they understand more the dynamics where the industry is heading. And I'm happy to share this with people. Surviving or struggling right now? I would say there are two camps probably at the moment. When you have a ticket to the AI party, you are thriving. The AI companies like NVIDIA, is TSMC, is companies like Supermicro, Wistron, Compal, Quanta, a lot of successful companies here in Taiwan where they can't meet the demand with the supply. You have other industry where they are not benefiting so much, right? So I think in the EV industry, there's a lot of price pressure, there's a lot of challenges, in the global supply chains. You need to look at the big picture. The long-term trend is going up. And the future is very, very bright because you will have AI everywhere. So in this regards, if you make a decision to go into this industry, you know that this industry will continue to thrive and there will be a place for you. Wow, that's a long time span in semiconductor. If you think about Moore's law, so when we look how quickly you accelerate, with new technology. But to be honest, we know already a lot of factories which are planned around the world the next couple of years. We know already that AI is changing our world. But you need to understand that there is still human capacity, human brain power needed, which, at least by our understanding today, AI cannot copy. So I believe strongly in kind of an assisted development where you use the technology, the AI, to accelerate the human development and not just to replace. So what's ahead is that I hope for humanity, we will implement even more of this technology for the good of all of us. And in this regards, we need to have strong supply chain resilience. we need to continue to move on to be able to secure our supply chains globally and make sure that we are not making the same mistake again, that we put all our eggs in one basket to be more efficient in the future. Good question. First of all, you need to have the passion that you want to go into this industry. How you get this? You need to get excited. It could be, that you see the stock development of NVIDIA the last 4 or 5 years and you say, hey, I also would like to benefit from this. It could be, you are very interested to design the next mobile phone chips, or you just want to work and help companies to expand globally. It all starts with you. You need to have a passion for this. And then you need to look in which segment. You can be an engineer, you can be a salesperson, you can be an accountant. There are numerous jobs available in this industry, but it's very important that you see the growth, what this industry can do, and that you see yourself working in that industry. And now you know what you need to do. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.